That is some good equality. Greetings, viewers, and welcome back to a mad asexuality party. I am your host, the mysterious masked Lisa Moon, and today I'm going to actually clear up a little bit of the mystery because, when I heard introduction week for these videos, I thought it meant introducing our series, if you will. So, a little bit about me, without, giving away enough specifics that the mask is rendered useless. My name is not Lisa D. Moon. That's my pen name. It's a fairly dorky pen name because, well, I am a dork. I've also done a lot of writing. I've been writing stories since I was about 2, and the earliest ones I couldn't actually, write, but I told my mother the stories and she wrote them down. And about the same time I started writing, if you will, original stories, I also started writing fan fiction. My first fan fictions were about Lion King, and I was a self-insert vegetarian hyena, and Mufasa didn't die. So I had often thought about what my pen name would be, and I picked Lisa, Lisse, from the main character of a wonderful, wonderful young adult sci-fi book called Invitation to the Game by Monica Hughes. And D stands for Doll. Roald Dahl is my favorite author when I was little, easy enough. Moon is the surname of the main character Shadow of Neil Gaiman's incomparable masterwork American Gods. And you already think I'm crazy, so I'm just going to come right out and say it. American Gods comes way closer than any organized religion to describing my spiritual views, so I thought Moon would be a cool surname. I mean, isn't Moon just a cool surname? Come on. Come on. I like to sing. I mentioned that I do a lot of writing. Some of that writing is song lyrics. Now, granted, some of it is still fan fiction, and I have 2 novels in progress, but I also do a lot of song lyric writing. I also was in choir. I'm a choir geek. I was in choir all through middle and high school. I was in a private choir. We toured internationally because we were awesome. I was in an early music group in college, and right now I'm in grad school and I'm really missing organized singing. I also played an instrument from 6th grade onward. It's a dorky instrument, and it's not a very common instrument, so even though it's the best instrument ever, I'm not gonna say it here because, once again, defeats the purpose of this. And come on, look how hard I worked on this mask. Like, this is the asexual shaded triangle, there are A's all over it, there's my little Asexuality cup, there's a spiral because I couldn't think of anything else, but isn't it a cool spiral? And look, I even cut out holes for my eyebrow piercing. I mean, I put a lot of work into this mask. I might as well, keep it useful. Ooh, martial arts. I have been doing a martial art, once again, without the specifics, but a fairly popular and fairly well-known martial art for about 14 years. Yeah, I was 8 when I started, and I'm 22 now. And I just got my 3rd degree black belt, actually, in this martial art. Yeah, that's been a huge part of my life. And why the mask? I figure you guys deserve to know why I'm being so mysterious. The reason for the mystery is pretty important. If any of you saw my audition video, I mentioned that I have abusive parents. That's not quite true. I have one very emotionally and occasionally physically abusive parent, and I have a parent who's really an accessory to the abuse. I don't want them finding this. That's why I'm not using my real name, that's why I'm not showing my face. Because abusive parent constantly Googles my name. And I've done asexual visibility online before, and my parents found it, and there was an abuse explosion, and I was told that if I continued doing visibility, it was going to ruin my life, because me being queer and being vocal about it is obviously a lot more important than the fact that I am looking to do groundbreaking, cutting-edge cancer research. Yeah, my parents have a very tenuous relationship with reality. Alright, well, that's enough about me. Let's move on to the sip of asexuality for the day. What asexuality is not, or rather, debunking myths about asexuality. Myth. Asexuals just haven't found the right person yet or are late bloomers. The thing is, a lot of asexuals actually have tried out sexual relationships in the past and even been in love with someone or been married to someone, sometimes for decades. And it's often said that even though an asexual who tried being sexual with someone they really loved, who is the right person for them emotionally, they still didn't desire sexual contact. And in terms of the whole late bloomer thing, who cares? Sexuality is fluid, and even if someone is a late bloomer, it shouldn't matter. If they're comfortable with their identity at the moment. Myth. Asexuals are gays or lesbians who haven't come out of the closet. Well, often asexual people do go through a phase thinking that they might be gay, and maybe they tried out a same-sex relationship and found that it didn't do anything for them. Because in all likelihood, they first realized, well, I'm not straight, and then thought, well, maybe I'm gay, tried it, didn't work. Also, homoromantic asexuals, asexuals who are of one gender and fall in love with the people of the same gender, they are gay. They're just not homosexual, they're homoromantic. Myth. Asexuals have hormone problems that can be fixed with treatment. Fact. Though this is theoretically possible, I guess, it's very common that an asexual will go to a doctor to have his, her, or their hormone levels tested and find out that they're completely normal. In fact, I personally have never ever heard of an asexual person's sexual orientation actually being the result of a hormone problem. Also, hormone imbalances might lead to decreased sex drive. That's not what asexuality is. Asexuality is lack of sexual attraction. So, if someone's hormones are whacked out and they've lost their sex drive, they might still experience sexual attraction, but they won't feel the impulse to act out on it. So, hormone problems, just not related to asexuality. Almost never. Myth. Asexuals have been sexually assaulted or otherwise had bad experiences with sex and intimacy and are just afraid. Well, again, theoretically possible. However, asexuality is defined by a complete lack of attraction towards others. Usually attraction they never had, not the sudden disappearance or repression of it that is based on fear. If someone was molested as a child and it resulted in something like asexuality, the thing is, a phobic attitude towards sex that impairs someone's psychological well-being with or without a traumatic event having caused it, that is a psychiatric condition. But if an asexual has happened to be sexually assaulted in the past, and they just have a disinterest in or a dislike for sex that doesn't bother them, that's not a psychiatric disorder. And that if it's not a disorder, it's not a problem. Myth. Asexuals would stop being asexual if they just had a good lay. I'm gonna need a moment.
Oh God. Can't get clean.
Alright, this is analogous to saying that, for example, a homosexual woman would stop being lesbian if she had sex with a man. I am going to assume that since you're watching a queer collab, you know that that is complete rubbish. Myth. Asexuals are reactionary religious nuts who are repressing their desires out of some outdated moral code. Fact. If someone feels sexual attraction and or wants to act on sexual attraction but chooses not to for moral or spiritual reasons, that's not asexuality. That's celibacy or abstinence. And many religions actually condone sex, perhaps only in certain contexts, while an asexual person may never desire it, even in those situations. There are also many asexuals who do not follow a religion with such a belief set, or who are atheists or agnostic. Myth. Asexuals are man-haters, misogynists, and or misanthropes. Fact. Look, asexual people no more hate people of any gender identity inherently than most people hate animals, children, or relatives who they don't want to sleep with. It's just not how it is. Myth. Asexuality is indicative of serious mental conditions like depression and autism. Fact. Some disorders like MDD, which I do have, yes, but it's all under control because SSRIs and therapy are awesome, can result in a loss of sex drive. But seeing that this is a loss of functioning that someone had before and would miss, rather than, the baseline, the base state of being, that's not asexuality. There has been a small, informal, and only on the internet correlation between asexuality and Asperger's syndrome. Still, most asexual people are neurotypical, and most people who have Asperger's are sexual. Myth. Asexuals are all gender neutral. Fact. No, we're not. Myth. People who fit into the above-mentioned categories aren't really asexual. Fact. People with hormonal imbalances, victims of sexual abuse, people with depression, autistics, members of organized religions, and people who want romantic relationships with same-sex partners, among others, are just as welcomed in the asexual community as anyone else, if they want to be. It's their identity, and no one but them can decide what they consider themselves. If they find out they're sexual later, that's fine too, but hopefully they'll find a supportive community in the meantime. It's a lot of talking. Throat needs some equality. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, everyone, and tune in next week.